Hi guys, I'd like to thank one of my subscribers who asked me a question last week when she heard that these monolithic stones were going up at the World Trade Center. And she said as she looked at these monolithic stones and the story on them, that they reminded her of Stonehenge. And that was very interesting to me because around 30 odd years ago, a code was broken, a mathematical code that identified so much about these stones, and also pyramids were linked to these mathematical equations all over the world, proving with these quite complex equations that the antediluvian or pre-flood people were very advanced in their maths, and they were able to link all of these pyramids and henges all over the world together mathematically, perfectly. And their language was in the very stones that they built them from themselves. How many stones there were, what diameter, how many steps, etc. So this interested me because I was also trying to crack codes about 5 years ago of why I could see particular patterns when I joined lines between disasters, massacres, killings, etc. And when I applied Isaiah 29:16, which tells us that we're esteemed as the potter's clay by turning things upside down. When I turned the United States upside down, I found that this pattern I'd made was an exact pyramid. And one of the points of the pyramid, which is this one just here, happened to be the World Trade Center, as we know as 911 nowadays, coming down. So when my subscriber asked me what did I think about these monolithic stones being erected that reminded her of Stonehenge, that link all over the world mathematically to pyramids, then I had a fishhook in my mouth. I thought, wow, let's take a look at this, see what we can find. So stay with me now as we try and hunt out some information. So first off, we'll have a look at the story itself, and these memorial stones are going up in the Memorial Glade Path. So what does the etymology of glade mean? Well, it means, in the obsolete sense of glade, including a gleam of light. Now, I'd seen that word gleam before. That resonated loudly with me. Where had I seen that? Well, I'd seen it here in the Strong's Concordance, because the H1300 has the word gleam in it, and you say that word in Hebrew, barak. Wow, that's interesting. Wasn't it Jesus who said in Luke chapter 10 verse 18, and he said unto them, I beheld Satan as lightning fall from heaven. So we know that this word gleam can also mean lightning. I beheld Satan as lightning. In Jesus' own words, spoken in the Hebrew language, I beheld Satan as barak, fall from heaven. Or is there any word for heaven that we should be looking at? H1116, heights. In Isaiah 14:14, I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will be like the Most High. That's Lucifer speaking there. He's boasting. Isaiah 14:13 says also, for thou hast said in thine heart, I will ascend into heaven. I will exalt my throne above the stars of God. I will sit upon the mount of the congregation in the sides of the north. See this word exalt? Keep that in mind. So now we have, in Jesus' own words, in Hebrew, I beheld Satan as Barack fall from Bama. Isn't that crazy? Barack Obama. Is there any other word for Satan that we know of? What about Revelation 9:11? Because 9:11 are on the side of this man's helmet, because this is monolithic stones put up in remembrance of 9:11. So Revelation 9:11 says, and they had a king over them. Who is them? They're locusts from Revelation 9:3, which they have stings in their tails like scorpions, which is the angel of the bottomless pit, whose name in the Hebrew tongue is Abaddon, but in the Greek tongue hath his name Apollyon, which is G623. Apollyon means Satan. Is there any way possible that we can bring 9:11, a gleam meaning lightning, whose name is Barak, on a high place from the heavens, whose name is Satan, who we find in 9:11. Is there any way possible that we can bring all of those together? Well, here's a man called Barack Obama who was reading Psalm 46 on a ceremony of 9/11 in 2011, 10 years after the event, whereby he was reading Psalm 46, where it says, "Be still and know that I am God. I will be exalted among the nations. I will be exalted in the earth." Remember, I said, keep that word exalt in your memory. I will be exalted among the nations. At exactly these words here. I will be exalted amongst the nations. I will be exalted in the earth. The time went from 8:48 to 8:49 on 9/11. What does the word 8:49 mean in the Bible? Rebellion, sedition. Are you kidding me? I will be exalted among the nations, and the word 8:49 means rebellion? What does this word sedition mean? Sedition, insurrection. What else did he say? I will be exalted among the nations. What does the word nation mean in the Bible? Here is the Psalm 46:10, where it says heathen here, H1471, but it's the same word for heathen and nations, H1471. What does it mean? A flight of locusts. Didn't it say in Revelation 9:11 that they would have a king over them, and the them are the locusts that are spoken of in Revelation 9:3? This is just mind-blowing to be able to pull all of that into one spot. Let's take a look now at sun worship and Stonehenge, because this is what my subscriber said it reminded her of. We've got archaeologists making a new Stonehenge sun worship find, and this story came out on November 29th, 2011. Now, if you think that's any mistake, when we take that November is the 11th month, 29 is 2 plus 9 equals 11, and it was in 2011. If you think that that's any mistake, then there's nothing going to convince you that this is the spirit of disobedience working here in man. What does the number 11 mean? H11 is Abaddon, and we know from Revelation 9:11, Abaddon is Apollyon, and Apollyon is Satan, and it means destruction. What happened at the Twin Towers? There was great destruction. We also know from previous videos that sun worship is associated with this symbol, and it's the phallic symbol of Satan, which has the number 666 written all over it. We know from the ancients, this is Nefertiti and Akhenaten with a whole bunch of children, and we can see that this is also to do with fertility. Ancient sun worship to do with fertility, to do with menstrual cycles and lunar cycles. What else can we find out about Stonehenge? Well, this news article says Stonehenge is a fertility monument built to cast penis shadows. Well, we found out that it was for sun worship. There's a large stone phallus or penis, and a story that says Stonehenge is a fertility monument to cast penis shadows. Are you kidding me? Now, we know from the gestation period of a woman, it's around 9 months. And we have here from Wikipedia the average gestation period for first-time mothers. Here it is. A median of 288 days gestation for first-time mothers. So who was the first-time mother? Well, that would have been Eve. So we can probably assume Eve's gestation period for Cain was 288 days. Is there anything at Stonehenge that might help us understand what we've just found? Yes. Stonehenge phase 1 diameter is 288 feet. So here we have this, same numbers as the gestation period. We have a news article, or a couple of news articles. One says this is sun worship, and the other one says it's to cast shadows of penises. Are you kidding me? I think we better go now and have a look at our original granite stones at the World Trade Center site. And look at the story itself. It says a 600-ton crane delivered 6 granite monoliths to the World Trade Center, sculptures honouring those who were sickened or died. Look at these words here. If you are not spiritual and think all of this is just some hoo-ha, a little bit of rubbish, then you'll take these stones for what they say they are. They're honouring the sickened or the dead. But if you've been called out of the darkness, if you've awakened, awaken, O sleeper. If you're coming out into the light and seeing things with a spiritual eye, then you will look at this and say, what is that actually telling us? Let's take a look. We'll start here at H606. Why? Because here we have a 600-ton crane and 6 granite monoliths. 606. That's what it's telling us. So what does 606 mean? It is a man. And if we follow the root of that man, it is 582. And it says properly immortal and thus differing from the more dignified H120. Who's that? Well, that's Adam. This one's immortal, thus differing from Adam. H605, we'll go back again. And what's that telling us? That this type of man is frail, feeble, melancholy, desperately wicked, incurable, sick, and woeful. Wow, this guy sounds very, very sick. What's this telling us? 606 is sickened. Are you kidding me? What about Eve? And Adam knew his wife Eve, and she conceived and bare Cain, and said, I have gotten a man from the Lord. So let's have a look at what Eve described this man that she'd just given birth to. We find that the root of that same person called Cain has the root of 582, which is properly immortal, thus differing from Adam. It has the root 605, and what do you know? It's the same. Frail, feeble, melancholy, desperately wicked, incurable, sick, and woeful. Are you kidding me? This, if you are asleep, will simply be some stones honouring those who were sickened or died. But if you are awake and you're looking at this through spiritual eyes, you will realise that this is the spirit of disobedience. This is Satan working through men and boasting and honouring himself for a system that we live in that sickens us and kills us, and he harvests the souls from those who did not find the truth. And the truth is Jesus Christ. Find him today. Peace and grace.